That's your work.
Okay. Okay. I'll update that. I'm giving you the names also. Oh, it's only been a month.
What happened here?
All right.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm sorry, did I hurt your ears?
Yes.
No, I just
Welcome to the June 26th meeting. If you, roll call show that everyone's here, and if you will stand and join me in the pledge. Face the flag, salute, and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Report on actions out of closed session. Mr. Connexet, motion. Dr. Toppin seconded. And the board approved the appointment of Gina Hal Freeman as elementary school vice principal, location to be determined, effective date to be determined by the following vote, 7-0. And that's the only item that was handled in closed session. We're going to start off with other action items. Mr. Khan.
Thank you,
The
President.
Measure L Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report.
Thank you, President Neely, members of the board, Dr. Washer. I'd like to welcome back to the days Mr. Jeff Siebel, the president of both the Measure L and the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee. You may recall Jeff presented Measure U last week, and he's also indicated a willingness to come back in July.
Well, you guys were pretty easy on me. Thank you, President Neely, Dr. Washer, and members of the board. For the Measure L Committee's annual report, similar to Measure U, it covers July 2016 through June 30th, 2017. And this was actually a very slow year, actually, for the Measure L. With Measure U coming up to speed, a lot of work's been done in North Stockton. So really it was one of the more quieter years that I've been on the board. But with that said, we did continue to perform our activities. We received and reviewed the audited financial statements. We reviewed and accepted the performance audit. Those were both clean with no findings, and there were no exceptions that the committee found with those as well. We reviewed the new and ongoing Measure L projects to ensure that they were within the scope of the balloted measure that was passed by the voters. And we monitored the progress reports of proposed and ongoing and completed Measure L projects, along with reviewing the quarterly financial statements. We did have one resignation, which was a longtime committee member, Tony Espinoza. He stepped down on September 19th, and we thanked him for his years of service. He was actually on the committee when I started, which was 3 years ago. And we notified Warren, and you've already filled his position with Lisa Koo. So all is good there. The Measure L tax rate estimate for the year in question came in with the assessed value of every $100,000. Assessed property value came in at $43.40, with the cap being at $60. So we were considerably under that. So there was no finding there. And with that, I'll just say that, you know, I see a lot of the schools in the area in North Stockton, and every one of them has visible benefits that's come from this bond measure. And as a parent, it's been good to see.
That's great.
With that really concludes the Measure L report, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions from the board?
Thanks again, Jeff.
Jeff, thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
And thank all the committee members.
Pardon?
Please thank all the committee members.
I will definitely do that. It's not the most glamorous committee right now because we don't have a lot of activity, but I think the Measure U is going to make up for it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Leonard, we're 3 members, 2 members shy, right, on that committee?
Yes, sir, right now.
Yeah, so we have advertised for openings on? Okay.
Are they beating down your door to join up?
Not yet.
Sometime-
But it's summertime, so we're hoping it's slow.
So sometime, yeah.
Turn that over to our new PIO.
We have a PIO.
She'll be able to take care of that for us. Everything that happens, we're just gonna turn it over to the PIO officers. Okay. All right.
You say that now.
Superintendent's report, Dr. Washer.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Speaking of our new PIO, I want to share with you what she has been busy working on lately. You haven't,
You need to vote on the.
That's an action item.
Oh, that is, that's right, that's an action item, excuse me, all right. Looking for a motion.
I move we approve Measure L report.
Thank you, Ms. Nava.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Talkin, Dr. Talkin. Calling for the vote? That's what happens when you take things out of order, you get confused. All right. Item passes 7-0. Now, superintendent's report.
thank you. You have in front of you a draft of an executive summary for our LCAP. The first time we have done this. There's a draft taped to the table in the back if the public would like to see it, asking that you please do not take it as it is a draft, leave it at the table. We don't want it out there because it will change and then it gets confusing when there are different versions of the documents out there. But this is quite impressive, even as a draft form. Chelsea has been working on looking at what other districts are doing some research, looking at very carefully at our LCAP and trying to find a way to present it to the community that will be easy to read, easy to understand, short and sweet, but get to the point. So I'm very impressed with this, and I know that it'll be great when it's in its final version. Just wanted to share that with you.
Is that it for you?
That's it.
Okay, I've looked at a lot of the executive summaries. This one's really good. Nice job. Okay. Moving right along. Dr. Talkin has set an unrealistic goal for me tonight. Finishing up, so.
You got 5 minutes.
5 minutes, that's right. Okay, we have comments from the public. I have 2 sheets. First of all is Kristen Merrill wants to talk about the Tokay basketball gym time. Oh, Kristen?
Hi. So I'm here, I'm the co-president of the Tokay Basketball Boosters Club and representing Tokay High School's basketball programs. I'm here to ask that our concerns are heard regarding the facility to practice at during our regular season. We are frequently displaced from having a place to practice unless we incur expenses that seemingly none of the other high schools have to pay. This will be my son's 2nd year playing basketball for Tokay High School, and during last year's season, we did not have a regular gym to practice at for various reasons. This concern was brought to our attention again by our coach at our first boosters meeting this year. He let us know that we still do not have a gym for practices. Our current gym is used by other sports consistently through the week, not allowing us to have any sort of regular practice time, and oftentimes we weren't allowed any gym time at all. We currently share one gym during our season with wrestling and girls and boys basketball. Once our games start, we struggle to get any gym time. In the past, our coaches have attempted to use one of the gyms at Lodi High School, but were offered completely unreasonable gym times. We feel strongly that a facility should be provided for Tokay's basketball teams for practices, and that the Boosters program should not have to raise money to pay for a practice gym. We need this time in order to keep a competitive balance with the sports teams. Currently, Lodi High School receives almost double the practice time Tokay receives. We have to get this sorted out prior to our season so that we can put a calendar together for a parent and student transportation. I would like to ask the district for a solution so that going forward, Tokay's basketball program can have a regular gym to use for our practice during our seasons.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. I don't know if you're aware, but the board cannot respond to anything
Sure.
because it's a non-agenda item. But thank you very much. We appreciate that. And
Absolutely. Should I return to the next meeting or? How does that work?
What I,
We'll refer it to
Oh.
staff. Can I
Okay.
have a copy? Can I have that?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Just so I-
there you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is your phone number on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, the next speaker for 3 minutes is going to be, is it Aaron Long?
Yeah, that's me.
Lang.
Lang, yeah, I think I misspelled my own name there.
The same old Aaron that comes up here before, okay.
Yep, same old Aaron, yeah. Same old Aaron. Good evening and thank you very much. And I first wanted to say that I can relate to a tiny bit of your position in that I served and worked as an IT director for some time, IT help desk. And I will say that no one comes to comment unless it's a complaint or a concern. No one ever calls you to say you're doing a great job. And I did write some letters over this last week. So I wanted just to say, first off, thank you very much for your service. I was not able to attend the last meeting. I was kind of caught everyone off guard from the CERNA Houston camp. And I really want to relay the importance of getting the message out that these meetings are being held so the public can participate. And I did talk to Dr. Washer about that, and she agreed that efforts would be made in that area. So thank you for that. The main concern I had was after watching that meeting online, and then it sparked after reading the article in the Lodi newspaper, was right front and center, second paragraph. I believe the Lodi News Sentinel stated that there's 124 spaces available capacity at Joe Serta Junior High Charter School. And that shocks me because this whole conversation has been about how Joe Serta is out of room. Yet there in the second paragraph, and also said here at these meetings and put on the board, 124 spaces. And I understand that the LEA, it's different, Joe Serta is a charter school. But it's causing confusion, I think, in the public, and I think we need to be really crystal clear when we're talking about these issues, because if I was a Houston parent, I would be saying, well, why in the heck they need to move? They got all this space. And so I think it's really extremely important that the facts are delivered with the correct conditions, that in considerations that Joe Serta Jr. is a charter school with a mandated ratio that has to be met, and that's communicated appropriately and accurately. Otherwise, I think we're in danger of getting news out that is not accurate. Secondly, on the class load breakdown of the different classrooms, I thought that was very interesting how the classrooms break down at Houston. It's great information. I understand it's a work in progress, but I think we need to make sure that we work directly with the principals of each program and really understand the needs of both programs before we start making assumptions that we can do this easily with 3 portables and no water tank. And I just think, I know maybe it's messy because it's at a public meeting and we're all kind of talking through it. It's a workshop more than a suggestion for a proposal. And I understand no decision is made, but I think it does cause some confusion. I think we would all be better served if we could meet with the 2 separate programs, Mr. Khan and whoever else may be involved, to really understand what are the resources that are the bare minimum that need to be met for both programs to succeed on one campus at the same time. And so that's what I'm here to call for, is really much more involvement of the school, the principals, and the 2 separate programs to really understand their needs, so the board has the best and most accurate information available to make the best decision for our district and our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, and finally, for 3 minutes, Stephanie Hammond.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Hammond, parent of a Joe Serna student.
Can you bring that microphone a
Sorry.
little closer? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm soft-spoken anyway. I was wondering if perhaps we couldn't have the minutes available a little bit quicker for the agenda items, because when I try to go onto the site to find them, I can't find them printed out until like maybe April. So I don't know if it's that they're harder to find or if they're just not there. I have been able to watch the YouTube videos, and also I'd like to know if there's any chance that we could have the time for each agenda item, so we don't have to watch like the hour to get to the item that we actually need. So that's my only request.
You can't respond, but
I can't respond, no.
I just want to say that minutes are not posted until they're approved by the board. So
Okay.
Once they're approved by the board, then they will get posted onto the website, but until then, we don't post draft minutes.
Okay, sure.
So that's why it's delayed.
All right, thank you.
That was just one of the things that she talked about too, though.
The minute thing, I'm gonna have to check with other people on that.
Okay.
The time for the agenda,
Yeah.
we'll look into that.
I'm not commenting, I'm just pointing out what
Got
you're
it.
saying.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. All right. That concludes the comment. Anybody else have anything that they would like to say at this time? Okay, we'll move right along. Consent agenda A. Any board members would like anything pulled from consent agenda A? Okay, seeing none.
President, staff would like to pull A11 for correction.
Okay. So you're going to want, you're going to make that correction when we get,
Yes.
okay? All right. And are there any items that any member of the public would like pulled from the consent agenda for further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve routine agenda A, the rest of them except number 11.
Thank you, Ms. Nova. Thank you, Dr. Talk. And we'll call for the vote. Consent agenda is approved, 7-0. Item A11. Dr. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. We would like to make a correction under the board discussion section. There's a statement, board gave consensus to move forward to providing financial literacy as a high school graduation requirement. We'd like to change that to board gave consensus to have staff bring back options regarding a requirement for financial literacy.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the superintendent's suggestions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Voice vote this time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll call for the, I need a motion on item A11.
Suppose.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Everly, and thank you, Mr. Nava. Calling for the vote.
Can't believe the detail.
It's a proud moment.
Big or small, big or small.
Okay, that's it. All right, items approved 7-0. Moving right along, we have personnel matters. Let's see if Dr.
No, other action items.
There we go.
Yeah, I like that where you're
Oh,
going.
the other action. Other
Where you
action.
going?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That's on the page. All right. Other action items. Ms. Katowski, approval of the 2018-19 local control accountability plan.
Pretty simple tonight. We made all the revisions that were required or recommended by the county office, and we bring the LCAP to you for approval tonight.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So if we approve it tonight, these are, it's going to go ahead and pass through the county, I guess, is what I'm saying. Okay.
I have just one quick question for you on page 1 in here. We show the demographics of the district, and then the last sentence on that first page says the population served by Lodi Unified is also economically divided along racial and ethnic lines, and it gives a different percentage. We're showing the percentage of economically disadvantaged in the general population, but we don't show it specifically for our students. Is there a reason for that? And I'm not asking to change anything. I just think it's got to go through. I'm asking the question. Is there a reason why we don't have it for students?
The honest answer is I have to go back and look at it by the county to see if they made us.
Could you make a note of that? It'd just be nice if we could see that too, because that's one of the questions. How, it's like the population, the district reflects a much different picture as far as economically disadvantaged than does the general population of this school district. There's a great deal of difference. if you look at your percentages on the families there of the different ethnic groups, far different than having a 70% within the school district. It doesn't add up. I'm not saying the figures are wrong. I'm saying that why is there so much difference for the school district, and how does that apply to the different ethnic groups? And that's going to help us in the long run when we look at what causes some behaviors. Is it more affected by poverty? Okay, and so that's one thing that we need to look at. Anyway, that's all I've got. Any comments or questions? Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Katowski, it must be such a nice feeling to have this finished for another year. Thank you for all the vast amount of work that you and your staff do on preparing this. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I join in those comments.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Comments from the public?
Mr.
Questions
Chairman,
from the public?
Mr. Chairman, I
Second.
move we approve the LCAP for 2018-19.
Second. Thank you, Ms. Nava. Thank you, Dr. Talkin. Any further comments? Are you okay? Do we need to do a voice vote?
Fix it. Oh.
Mr. President, did you ask for public comment?
Yes.
It was covered on the screen.
I'm sorry, we got a small computer problem.
I said if you'd taken that class. Mr. K.
Okay. You've got the motion and the second. Calling for the vote. Items approved 7-0. Budget adoption, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, President Neely, members of the board, Dr. Washer. Tonight we present the district's annual budget for the 2018-2019 year with multi-year projection. I've provided a PowerPoint. I'll run through quickly. We'll try and stay with our tradition of just showing pictures and speaking quickly. So the first slide, was this just a pointer?
If you need us to advance, we can.
Will you advance, because it's like walking on machine.
That's fine.
This slide really is not so much related to the budget as much as it's just it does represent our revenue, but Martha, can you go back one? Go forward two. One more. Okay, never mind. Go back to the second slide. All right, so this is related to our revenue, but not directly to any dollar amounts. It's an average, a weekly average of our enrollment total for the 2017-2018 year. That's the white line. It is interesting to note that for some reason in the back half of the year, our sixth grade population increased a lot, quite a bit, some 40 students from the low point to the high point. If we can go to the next slide, you also see the white line is the 2017-2018 mean average of district enrollment from kinder all the way through 12th grade. Excuse me, the green line's at the 3-year average, and then the 2017-18 weekly mean is the white line. And you'll notice the bump right there at 6th grade again, so that is our largest cohort moving through at this point. Next, please. It is a good LCFF year. I think everybody's aware that Governor Brown and the legislature are currently in the process of signing a fully funded LCFF program for state schools or for public schools in the state of California. So the white line shows a very large increase from what may be the bottom of the recession, or at least the very beginning of the LCFF program in 13-14 to what's projected in the 2021 year. That's revenue growth of 100 million, whereas the staffing costs, you will notice, kept pace while staffing costs are up about 80 million. It did start from a higher level back in 13-14. Next one. This is a percentage look at revenue versus staffing cost growth. I will note that there is no staff compensation in these numbers, or the linear depiction of the numbers, as negotiations are only just getting started, but the board may note that in the 2021 year, we are close to growing our staffing costs at a higher rate than our revenue. Anytime this happens in some industries, they refer to it as a death cross. This is something we will watch very closely going into future budget years. Next slide. We often talk about the STRS and PERS effect with employer matches or cost contributions to both the STRS and PERS program, well advertised as doubling and almost tripling STRS and PERS, relatively speaking. You'll note that this shows up very well in the linear graph. It may look deceiving in that the yellow line begins to decline substantially from this 17-18 school year. However, the board should note that the line is still in positive territory, so all that's happening here is the rate of increase is slowing, but it's still increasing. Okay, and it's the benefits costs are increasing faster than the growth in our LCFF revenue. Next slide. We chose to show.
Can we go back to that just a second? I got to ask a question on that. That says growth in benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the cost of it.
Is that it's not the actual cost of the benefits. The cost of the benefits don't decline, but the growth in the extra expenses
It's the
decline.
percentage growth of the benefits of our 3,000 code.
So that's a little deceiving, that slide. I'm sorry, that slide's a little deceiving in that it looks like, if you just take a gander at that, like the amount you're spending on benefits decreases, but it doesn't.
It's decreasing, the rate of increase
The
is
rate
slowing.
of increase is slowing, but the total dollar value
But it's still
is it
growing.
increases.
Yes,
So
sir.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm saying that slide, I think we could have portrayed that a little bit better. Because
We
if you look at it, it says, you see a downward sloping line there,
That's true. We did
when
the
costs are
percentage.
actually increasing.
We could do it in absolute dollar terms as well.
Yeah, I think that would be, okay.
But I will note that the
Okay.
growth rate is still above 0%. So we are still growing. 3,000s are projected to grow at 3.94%, whereas the LCFF revenue is projected to grow at the rate of COLA, which is the 2.63 number. But I understand what you're saying. Anyway, it does look like it's declining, but it is only the rate of growth that is declining. It is not going negative. It is still
Right.
growing.
If you still rolled money there, it would be a bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Next slide. Right, so these are our percentage pieces of the pie, what our various expenditure codes calculate to in terms of the dollar amounts and percentages. We again begin the study in the 13-14 year, which is the beginning of the LCFF program, and end of the 2021 year, which is the end of our 3-year multi-year projection. Board will note that the ending balance, the very bottom line, is increasing rapidly, but as we'll note in the next slide, that does include about $9 million, which will find its way back into the expenditure columns in the 18-19 year. It is expenditure budget that was not spent in the 17-18 year, but will be provided back to the programs that did not spend the money. Next slide. This is a description of the type of money that did carry over. The one-time money, particularly some of the facilities money that the board granted, I believe in the November board meeting, November 2017, the board may recall that we did allocate some money to the Lockford parking lot, some money to additional HVAC replacements within the district. That money will be spent in the 18-19 school year. One other note is we are in the process of incurring Affordable Care Act penalties. It's somewhat of an unfortunate name for the fee that we are being charged. What these numbers actually represent are the ACA exchange subsidies that the district must pay to subsidize those of our staff members who are actively buying policies on the Affordable Care Act exchange. Next slide.
Does that get paid to the state?
Gets paid to the exchange, so that the insurers who are providing actually it gets paid to the IRS. And then the IRS redistributes the money to offset the costs that our employees are paying for.
So we allow employees, instead of taking our benefits, to go search for their own and then we pay for it?
We do, in our health benefits plan, we are not 100% plans. We do allow employees to opt out. So if they do choose to select policies on the exchange, the district is at law expected to subsidize certain employees at cost. So if an employee does not meet the out-of-pocket expense level for an affordable plan under the American Care Act, the district is expected under IRS code to match or subsidize that purchase of insurance.
So it costs us money?
Yes, sir. Right. The last slide was just a breakdown of where our assignments are and the ending balance. Would you go back and let us? Next slide is just a slide we pulled from the school services presentation. Just to note that, as the board may have noted in the LCAP, now that we are fully funded, we will be expected to expend the minimum proportionality amount. In the LCAP, you'll note that that is $51 million for the 18-19 budget year. Minimum proportionality is a dollar amount that the state does expect us to expend on the students that generate the revenue, that being the supplemental and concentration students. One idea that's been presented at both study sessions and to the board and discussed in the cabinet is an attempt to, at some point, reduce our MOE for special ed. The board will note that the contribution for special ed expenditures is sizable, and the requirement to spend money on supplemental students is required legally. So at least in this concept, the idea is to possibly convert some of the instructional expenditures or intervention expenditures from special ed where possible and into our unrestricted resources to meet the needs of supplemental and concentration students. It's expected that this will possibly work where there is the ability to raise caseloads in the IEP area. Next slide. This is an evaluation of value of 1% and what impact it will have on both expenditures and ending balance. I will note again that all of these ending balance balances do contain that $9 million carryover from the 17-18 year. And I'd like to offer special thanks to Angel Mernon, who has moved to Utah as of the first week of June, but this is still Angel's work that we are viewing tonight, and she's deserving of a note of thanks, as well as April Juarez, our controller. And I'll also note that Brooklyn will be leaving us as of Friday as well, another one that has been promoted to retirement. Be happy to answer any additional questions.
Questions from the board? Okay, could you go to slide 11, please? What's your ending fund balance for 17-18 year?
It would be the beginning balance of the 2018 school year, so it's
So it's
973.
973.
Yes, sir.
And your assumptions here, value of 1% compensation, you show 0, 1, 2, and 3. Are those for the 18-19 year only?
No, sir, all the way across.
So that's 3% every year?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I beg your pardon. I think I answered, I misspoke on the answer. So it assumes a 3% increase in the 18-19 year, and then the additional step and column increases to that 3% in the out years.
So this reflects step and column, the 1920 and 2021 reflect step and column only?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
In step and column, our standard step and column budget number for both certificated and classified is about 1.65%.
Okay. Questions from the public? Or comments from the public? Mr. Hart, how are you, sir?
Good. Good evening, Superintendent Washer, board members, staff, and public. I'd just like to comment a little bit on the Affordable Care Act penalties.
Yes, sir.
You know, we're desperately trying to figure out how we can take those penalties and place them on the benefits for our bargaining unit members. So this is our goal, is to try to figure out a way to do that. And, you know, I'm thankful that we can have open discussions with the chief business official about doing that without calling it negotiations. Okay.
That's a great idea.
You know, we have a lot better communication going. I want to let you know that. So, you know, the idea is the Affordable Care Act, you have to provide an affordable plan for those eligible employees, those working 130 hours a month or more. And so we're not there yet. That's why we have the penalties. First of all, the difficulty is that CalPERS doesn't offer a bronze plan that would get us there. So we have a high silver plan that is our bottom plan that provides an 80-20 match. So we're trying to figure out how does this work so we can improve the benefits that the employees are receiving, and that the district doesn't have to pay this penalty. Because in the event that we got to that point where that you were able to offer an affordable plan, the penalties would go on the employees who went out and tried to use the exchange. And those penalties would be levied just like this through the IRS. So, you know, it's very complicated. All of these moving parts and the fines and how they work and how you grade where you're at. But, you know, I'm hopeful that we can do that together, and I really appreciate that open door policy so we can just talk about this. So thank you very much.
Fantastic, Mr. Harvey. We welcome your efforts. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Mr. Khan, thank you very much for your work on this. We appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the 2018-19 budget adoption.
Thank you, Ms. Nava.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Dawkins. No further discussion, calling for the vote. And that budget is approved 7-0. Okay. And the final. No, not yet, not final. Item OAI 4, Resolution 1018-33, spending determination with respect to fiscal year 2018-19 monies received from the Educational Protection Account EPA. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, President Deely, members of the board, Dr. Washer. This is our annual resolution to adhere to the tenets of the Educational Protection Act of 2012. The board may recall during the lean Great Recession years, additional monies were made available to school districts under certain provisions. The main one being that the money would not be spent on administrative salaries or any effort to lobby or legislate statutes in Sacramento. In our financial statements, that's been fully clear. Staff recommends adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Any questions or comments from the board? Actually, do I hear a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve
Second.
this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. And thank you, Dr. Talkin. Okay, now any comments from the board? I apologize for the breach there. No comments, questions? Any comments or questions from the public? Okay, calling for the vote. Item is approved 7-0. The last one, OAI-5, provisional internship permit and approval. Dr. Washer.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We have one provisional internship permit for you to approve. This is commonly known as a PIP. We need your approval in order for the individual to receive this.
Thank you, Dr. Washer.
Out of school.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve provisional internship permit.
Thank you, Ms. Nava.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Talkin. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. It's coming up quicker on the board than it is on the computer. Item is approved 7-0. Communications, comments from employee group representatives.
Personnel
Oh,
All right, George.
Not yours.
I'm trying to get through it, yeah. Personnel matters, Dr. Washer.
Don't interrupt him.
Don't interrupt the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. I forgot my line.
Routine
Personnel matters are presented for your approval.
Mr. Chairman,
Not
I
bad.
move we approve certificate of personnel.
Thank you, Ms. Nava.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Talkin. Comments
I
from the
move
board?
we also include classified in that motion.
What's that?
I move we also,
Personnel matters are classified
Yeah.
and certificated.
Right.
both of them.
Yes.
Right, sorry. Any comments from the public? Calling for the vote. Okay, now, let's move on to the comments from employee group representatives. None tonight, Michelle? Okay. Deborah, you good? All right. Comments from board members?
None.
None?
None.
First time.
All right. I'm not breaking that streak, I'll tell you. Comments from the superintendent?
I have to say, congratulations, you passed the budget, the LCAP, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Huge deal for this district. A lot of work.
Maybe our biggest budget ever.
Yeah. Reports, instructional coaches report, Ms. Katowski.
Mr. President, members of the board, as Lisa is coming forward,
Taking a graceful fall through.
just want to give a brief preview to the report. We want to emphasize that this is in anticipation of realizing a different vision for coaching. In the future, we know that the RBET is busy at work and will have some recommendations that will of course have to go through the appropriate negotiations process. And the intent is to get services to teachers as close to teachers as possible. And that's the whole intent behind the career path that the RBET is developing with the teacher specialists, the model teachers, and the master teachers to get that support at the school sites or as close to the school sites as possible. In the meantime, in the absence of that, support still is needed, especially for teachers like the one that you just approved this evening for the provisional intern and also our interns. We have agreements with universities in order to have those folks in place. We have to be willing to provide a certain level of support and to show that we have that support. Otherwise, we would not get these folks approved and in the programs, and we wouldn't have them to take our position. So that piece is very critical. And so while we are implementing the RBET goals and vision of getting support services to teachers as close to them as possible, we do have needs in the district for some support for teachers throughout the district. And so that's what Lisa is going to present as one way to look at this.
Thank you, Dr. Washer.
President Neely, members of the board, and Dr. Washer, thank you for that introduction. I think it sums it up very well what we're trying to approach here. Sorry, little things bother me. Okay, so when we first started, back in 2008, we have been growing our coaching services to approximately 25 positions. If you remember back in 2008, it was a wonderful year for me. This district laid off, I think, 4 or 5 coordinators, and I think I was the only person left behind holding the bag, except for maybe 2 coordinators. And over time, one person can't do it all. So over time, we have grown our coaching ranks, which we want to show with you right now, has been in-classroom job-embedded support for our teachers, which we find to be very successful for the teachers that are actually in need of it and using it. So here we had our whole coaching companion, and we had 25 coaches at one time, and over the past 2 years, we've lost 14 positions. And you can see, we forgot to highlight the gate coaches over there in red, to show you that they have also been vacated this past year. But those are the positions that we've lost, either to, the majority of them are going outside of the district or into administration rather than returning to the classroom. And I say that is a testament to our coaching staff and the training that we give to our coaches, because they go outside, they get a great amount of coaching, and then other districts want to hire them, or we want to promote them to be administrators. During last school year, with the number of coaches that we had, we provided services to 48 schools, all of our K-12, actually that should probably say TK-12 teachers, which is approximately 1,400 teachers. We serviced 67 STIPs, PIPs, and interns. It's a lot of individuals that really have not gone through their college coursework to get a teaching credential, 20 long-term subs, and then 28 combo teachers.
Could you answer a question on that slide real quick?
Sure.
Services, can you talk about the services you've provided? 1,400 teachers is every teacher, just
Yes.
about every teacher we got. So what kind of services are you providing to?
We provide after-school professional development. We provide in-class job-embedded coaching, guiding, modeling, teaching, co-teaching. We provide assistance for SBAC testing. We're in almost every teacher's classroom at least once a year. If not, any teacher that wants you repeatedly, they will be asked for. But are at the request of 1,400 teachers.
Do you have an approximation of the number of hours that the coaches have spent in front of teachers?
They complete a monthly log, and so we can provide that information. Each coach provides a monthly log of their activities, so we can provide that information to you. I don't have it at the top of my head right now.
I thought maybe they included the reports.
Well, you'll see some averages. They're just averages because, there are some months that are higher and some months that are lower. So our current status, as we move forward, is we will have 4 English language arts coaches, which will also dovetail into our English language development coaches, 2.3 math coaches. That's because we have one coach that chose to stay on instead of retire, so she wants to stay on at 50%, and one coach that would like to stay home a portion of her time with her new baby. And she does so believe in coaching, but she did not want to take a leave of absence or go back to the classroom. So she's taking a short 80% contract. We have also 2 coaches for technology, 1 science coach and 1 AVID coach that were not listed on there. So with what we have remaining, our first priority is going to be in classroom support. And that support will have to be limited to the interns, the long-term subs, the STIPs, the PIPs, all of those teachers that we have to provide support for in terms of combination classrooms. They'll be doing modeling lessons, co-teaching, providing feedback and guiding practices for those teachers. You will see we did an average to kind of show you how much time, 3 years ago we were able to provide the number of contacts would be 805 a month. It's dwindling each month each year as coaches are not replaced. So we project that there will be in-class support to be about 200 a month versus what we had 3 years ago.
I was wondering about this. I said, what is that 805?
Yeah.
What is that 200? Is that
contacts in the classroom? Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know you've got an explanation. I have to hear it.
Sure.
Why do you go down here? I'm sorry, Joe.
Sure.
You go down here less than half, but over here you go down dramatically more. How does that work?
It's by the number of coaches that we have, so decreasing the number of coaches will decrease the number of amounts that can go out to school sites.
So this is per coach?
Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So why did it go down per coach?
Well,
I know there's a good reason.
The more that you reduce coaching, the more they have to pick up some other activities to support other areas within the district.
What are those other areas?
Oh, we'll get to that I think it's on our last slide. We'll tell you what those other areas probably will not be supported next year as we go forward. Our second priority will be professional development, and this will be a great reduction of services, but I want you to, this is where our RBET teachers could come in a big time to help with professional development and after school, professional development offered after school for teachers. And so you can see what we have provided professional development for teachers in the LPAC in the classroom. The Study Sync ELD will be something that we will have to focus on as we move away from English 3D and decided to move into Study Sync, the ELD portion. Our ELD teachers have not had any experience with that, so that will be something that they will have to focus on. We, as a board, upgraded Read 180 to Read 180 Universe, and teachers have come in for training. There will have to be new support. There will have to be support for those teachers, and that's over 100 teachers that are doing that. We also have a need for supporting our social science adoption, because one of the ways that we project that we can implement the social sciences is integrated into the ELA block of time. And the coaches are going to have to help design those lessons for teachers and help make it We can't expect teachers to teach all day and then come after hours for 2 or 3 hours to design a lesson. They can certainly help us refine a lesson, but when you're exhausted for working all day long, it's kind of hard to say, okay, come now and let's put our best thinking caps on. So coaches will be needed to help with that. And then, of course, our new teacher induction program. We have to, our coaches support the teacher induction program. Our AVID will continue as it has, and our ELA coaches support AVID at the same time as they support English Language Arts and ELD. Our math, we struggle as a district. I don't think I'm saying anything, we show growth in mathematics, a small, slight growth, but we need support, continually support with our mathematics, especially at our 6th grade level, because with the new Common Core, some of the content that was in 7th grade or in middle school has now shifted down to 6th grade, and the 6th grade teachers are multiple subject teachers, not content-specific teachers, so some of the mathematics content is a struggle for them, and they need some assistance with that. We target specific teachers that ask for assistance, and we work with those. And we have to move towards providing a Common Core experience for our children. They need to have discourse. They need to be able to not only do the work procedurally, but understand why that happens, so that as they go on, the why isn't so confusing to them and they don't get lost. We have 2 technology coaches that will continue to provide tech support in the classroom. This is kind of a tricky area in some areas, because some of that tech support is really tech support. It's about, did you turn your computer on? Do you have it connected correctly? Which our technology division should be able to do, but our teachers feel more comfortable calling their tech coach. They have a relationship with their tech coach, and they can answer the cell phone really easily and answer the question. So that's a big piece, but they're also going to have to help with the new online portals for all of the new social studies adoption will be online. Our last 2 adoptions were all online, so the integration of the online technology with the regular paper technology is difficult for teachers, and there need to be some support for that. And then, of course, next year we're going to be doing a science adoption, and that will be a major undertaking with the NGSS standards and Common Core. So you can see what opportunities we've had in professional development for the last 3 years, and what we project we can do after school with our limited resources. Did I go backwards?
Yeah,
yes. So some of these are the supports that we probably will have to modify how we can support these activities. We have, of course, we've heard from our GATE coaches and support system for GATE that we'll have to change how we do some of the projects or the testing and the teacher support for GATE. I'm not saying we can't do it, but we will have to do it with our English Language Arts coaches. They can pick up some of the slack that the GATE coaches have been doing. Our ARE office, Assessment Research, can help with the online assessments that most of the GATE assessment is done online. We have our assessment team that does our DIBELS and our LPAC. They can be trained to do assessments. Our teachers are trained in almost all of the assessments, the reading inventory, the math inventory, and the 3rd grade teachers had received, site leads received training in the NNAT last year. So we can continue to support them. It won't go by the wayside, but it will not continue at the 100% level if we, have such a reduction. I have to be honest, when you can't do the same with a lot less people. You just have to make some decisions. The take-home initiative that we are sponsoring, we had a lot of our tech coaches were going to support that. The one that was appointed last week as an administrator was in the lead of that. Now we're going to be challenged to find a replacement to take on that work or even do that work. We also wanted to go on with micro-credentials, SBAC testing, where our coaches work with teachers on the SBAC assessment beforehand and then during the time of assessment. So our assessment research office will be slightly They will have to be much more creative in how we get assistance out there for teachers when we do our SBAC testing, because it is all online and they need assistance. Even though this is our 3rd and 4th year with it, things happen and coaches or support staff is needed. Our coaches provide a lot of the first day professional development. Those first 2 days, they provide the boot camp. They work on the boot camp for all of our classified and certificated staff. They are site lead, they provide site lead trainings, so forth and so on. So those are some of the things that we will have to change or not do completely.
Lisa?
Yes, sir.
The emails that I get says that GATE program is not going to be supported with coaches, and it's, the way it makes it sound like it's going to go away almost altogether, the whole program, which I don't believe. But on this slide, you say you do have teacher support for the GATE program. So
Yes.
that's not going away then.
The GATE program will not be going away.
But the GATE support
Right.
is going to go away altogether?
Drastically reduced.
Right, it will be reduced, but our coaches and teachers will be able to continue to support the GATE program so that it continues in operation. It cannot continue the way it is now, but our English language arts coaches
So they'll be given
qualified.
will they be given strategies?
Yes, they're qualified to provide professional development to the GATE teachers or the cluster teachers. They're qualified to do the assessment pieces. And certainly we can work with ARE to develop criteria, how to identify students that are, after all of the assessments, to modify, just like we did with the math placement. We develop the criteria, we develop the evaluation, and then we come up with a list of the students that are qualified and so forth.
Would part of that RBET committee folks be involved with this?
They could be. Since it's still on the ground floor, I'm not sure how. I can tell you that if there was an RBET mentor master teacher, that they could possibly be doing something for GATE.
Okay, thanks.
Could I just pick up on that? I understand the part about how we're transitioning. I understand that because of the RBET teachers and all of that. But in regards to GATE especially, I'm not clear on why it seems like we have a gap here where we're admitting that we're not going to be able to do what those coaches had done. And I understand, is it true, like every 3rd grade child is tested now?
Correct.
Okay.
With the NMAT, yes.
Right.
An online assessment.
Yes, and so if my math is correct, the total number of all coaches is 10.3.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I have heard you say, as we've gone through this presentation, that the ELA coaches will do this and that, and I'm a little unclear on how we're going to do this. It doesn't make sense to me.
Mr. Neely, is it okay if I respond to that?
Please.
Okay. First off, my comments are not intended to insult anybody or create havoc. My comments are the NNAT is an online assessment, which last year we provided 2 trainings for 3rd grade teachers to give the NNAT in their classrooms. Mm-hmm. And so the 3rd grade teachers can also give that test, that assessment in their classrooms, or our coaches who already are well-versed in the reading inventory and the math inventory can also be trained in how to administer the NNAT. I'm not saying it's a wonderful answer to the program, but all of our teachers across the district have access to almost all of the assessment tools except for the NNAT, because that is given specifically at 3rd grade. So all of our classroom teachers can administer the reading inventory and administer the math inventory, and they've all been doing it for a number of years. So it's just picking up another piece that I believe our coaches could do, especially if, we go to the next slide and the recommendation is to increase ELA coaches. That could help us meet that need.
Question. Sir.
You just mentioned in response to Ms. Castle's question. You said that they are trained to give the third grade test. So that is a separate portion of an existing test, or is it a separate test altogether? What is it?
The NNAT is a separate test altogether.
What's the name of it?
NNAT, N-N-A-T. I don't know what the letters stand for, but that's what we call it in short.
And what's it called? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Naglieri Nonverbal Intelligence.
Well,
You're making that up.
You know, I thought that's what it was.
Naglieri
I thought I was just
Nonverbal
going to say
Assessment.
I didn't know if it was the other end net.
So the bottom line is that, okay, it's a separate test.
Yes,
So all of our third graders take whatever plus the NNAT.
correct.
Okay. And that was kind of, my concern is that, you know, for the GATE program, multiple school sites, once they're identified, and, you know, I'm thinking, well, how does this whole sequence work? So the first step then is to take the NNAT, and then what? No. What? How does it go? Somebody tell me. What's the sequence?
I would have to refer to Mary since she was involved
Who's
in
not
that.
gonna make the sign like? Mary, why don't you tell us about that?
My question then is that I think we should ask who we can ask to get the answer.
May I
Can
step
you-
forward, or do you
Surely.
want me to stand here?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I just like, and that goes back to communication. My name is Mary Galerga Hood, and I am a former GATE coach. So the first step for GATE identification, it happens to be the second grade. It's in second grade where we start identification. It's one piece. Lodi Unified has a very strong identification process across the nation. Most districts use one method. Lodi Unified, we have 3 methods to make sure we're not missing anyone. So the first step is second grade. We have a specially designed math assessment. It is built upon what the extension activities in our math expressions. And so students should be able to tackle most of those, but it is still very difficult. So it starts in second grade. Then, and that last year, Barbara and I rolled that out online. It was the first year online. So we had to train, we had to work with teachers, we had to send out directions. We had our personal cell phones available for any calls, because normally we would have been in the classrooms helping them. So this year online. Then at the beginning, then last year we also rolled out the NNAT online, and that was it's a Pearson. Pearson is the company we went through, and that was we had summer trainings with the GATE coordinator, Pat White, Barbara, and myself, Barbara Transon, who was the other GATE coach, and we met with the Pearson representatives. We actually did the setup for the teachers, so they didn't have to go in and put we had our ARE department did the initial setup, and then we helped so that the teachers didn't have to be overwhelmed. Third grade gets a lot of testing. So that happens at the beginning of third grade. Then at the end of the first quarter in third grade is the RI, and the teachers are very familiar with the RI online. So 2 of the tests they're not familiar with online, and 1 they are. And our ARE department has been phenomenal with helping roll those out. But it is a lot to ask ELA coaches to take on, because then it takes them away from other things in the district. So I'll leave it at that and come back later.
Hey, good night.
Well, that kind of starts my question of the sequence of this. The bottom line is I don't want the GATE program suffering for lack of guidance. And really what I see is the GATE department, or program, excuse me, GATE program, has a half-time GATE coordinator and a secretary for the district. Is that where we are today?
I would suppose that if you consider Pat White a halftime coordinator,
Well, that means you're running.
She's the principal.
She's the principal.
Big teachers out in the district as well.
I get that, but if I'm a teacher in a classroom and I'm let's say a gate pull-out teacher at X elementary school, I'm not kind of overseeing the whole system to make sure that it's running smoothly. I'm not talking about students in front of me and I'm instructing. So how does all that work? Who's coordinating the program? Gate program. I mean,
Mr. President, members of the board, if I could explain a little bit. Before we had Mrs. White take on the tasks of gate coordinator, that was part of the assistant superintendent department role. We didn't have someone designated because that had been eliminated back in the budget cuts. So that was actually an addition to supporting gate. And you may recall, Mrs. White was principal of two small schools, and that was Podesta Ranch and Elkhorn. And to keep her at the level that she was at as that principal, she took on the duties of the gate coordinator. So she was principal at Elkhorn plus the gate coordinator. So we were able to justify keeping her at the compensation level as being a principal of two sites. So I wouldn't say that she's half-time coordinator and half-time principal. She is principal plus the coordinator duties. Because the principal of that school is a small school.
I remember the history, which is fine. But so if the only people that are overseeing gate is Pat White when she's not doing her principal duties and a secretary, yes or no?
Yes, under Lisa.
Right.
Under me? Oh.
We had it under, actually it was under Elodia Lampkin for this last year.
Yes.
That's why I question.
That's why she's principal.
I hope not. Go ahead.
What I would like to assure you is that, Gate is not going to, Gate will continue. I can't say it will not suffer, but it will continue, and it will continue to be supported in the district. There is no intention to eliminate Gate or not provide support to the Gate teachers or the students. However, it's a reality that with limited resources, something has to go.
Yeah, and I think that's very well put. You said that is very certain. And yeah, I don't foresee anybody in this room even proposing to get rid of Gate, because I don't think any of us want to step on that landmine.
I don't.
And it's just wrong for the kids. So, yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is yes, it will not look like it does now. It will diminish and suffer.
And there are options of there are several strategies and options that we can use to continue to support it. It just will look different than what it was in the past. It doesn't mean it's not going to be as good, but we have several venues through the LCAP for all kinds of support for GATE students, and assessment-wise and professional development-wise. So I don't want to say that it won't be, it can't be as robust, but it will be good, and our students won't suffer. I don't believe our students will suffer.
Okay.
Before you go to the request, would you go to slide 2, Lisa? Slide 2. Okay. All the red, of course, you don't have the gate as red, but those are included. You have three people that left the district. Why? Why did they leave?
Well, I can't tell you specifically, but I can tell you what has been shared with me via their supervisor. Some of them knowing that, if I can just put the cards on the table, that everybody has said that coaching is going to be eliminated at the end of the year. They felt that they had to be secure in their positions, and so they went out looking for something in their field or in their area that they really wanted to do. Some of them went to some very high district level positions in other districts. They wanted to protect themselves, and with all the training that they had good opportunities that came out for themselves.
Okay, thank you. Second question, we have a stepping stone on this coaching, to administration. We
You
have,
might say that.
as I understand, 3 here that left for administration. That's pretty good.
Yes.
That means that they're getting exposed to leadership and all that kind of stuff, and we're leaving these positions vacant. I know another one is retirement, of course, that's okay. Why did the gate coach return to the classroom?
I don't know that specific reason. It's Mary, so maybe Mary can tell you why. She's right behind us. I don't know.
For the very reason that Lisa was discussing about the security or non-security of the coaching in our district and
Wow.
then communication.
Thank you. And the other one, of course, retired. All right, my point here is, at one time, I know my colleagues were concerned about the teacher shortage. And this is why this came about. You know, we went, you don't need the coaches, they need to be in the classroom because they're topped and so forth. Well, here we go, we got people leaving the district, we got people going to administration, so we're still short on coaches. Now, my main question right now is, who evaluates the coaches?
Sherry Flemmer, she's the coordinator of professional development. She evaluates all the coaches.
And what criteria does she use? I know I'm getting deep into this, but there must be just a little bit of criteria there. Yes. 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 Okay. Now, my other question is, these positions, the money's already allotted for them, right?
Correct. These positions are in the budget.
They're on the budget already. I'm changing my opinion as to keep these coaches. If there is no problem with the shortage of teachers, and I'm sure that there are a shortage of teachers, but by the same token, we need these people to help the young teachers and everybody else involved so we can make the progress that we need to do with our students.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Nova. Mr. Newell, if I can answer that question. I do believe that the coaching is important, that the job vetted assistance and modeling for teachers is important. And ultimately, it's all rolls down to what's good for our students. The more refined we are at with our craft of teaching, the better our students' end result will be. Just because a coach walks into your classroom doesn't mean that you are not a good teacher. All teachers are good teachers. They just need some refinement in some of their strategies or skills, and that helps then our students achieve better because the content and understanding and the classroom management all increase. I will not say that there is not a teacher shortage, though. I believe we still struggle with math and science teachers, but I'm not personnel, so maybe Kathy can address that question.
Mr. Bailey, members of the board, we of course are still concerned about filling classroom teacher vacancies. We were in really good shape early on. When we get late retirements, that puts us into looking for interns and pre-interns, as you're seeing on agenda items, asking for you to approve those. So we are in the time frame where credentialed teachers are in shortage, and we are filling positions with those who are getting provisional authorizations.
You know, it's so interesting here because math is such an important area, and you have two of them that left the district, one returned to the classroom because of what you're saying, and the other one to administration. So, I mean, those we're not actually using as teachers anyway, so we lose them. And we lose all the red ones and the ones that didn't go back to the classroom. But anyway, that's my point, and I'm finished with it. I know you have some requests at the end.
Yes, so in order for us to be able to continue to provide a robust or semi-robust coaching process for our teachers, we're requesting an additional 7 FTEs, and some of those are crossover lines. As you can see, we're looking for a mathematics coach, which might be difficult to find. You know, secondary mathematics is still a problem for us with the new way of our CMP and CPM3, getting students to talk in their classrooms. A little plug, I want to say, if you are out and about at Tokay or Bear Creek, to look at the Elevate math classes that are going on. Those are the types of classes that we would like to see, the activities going on in classrooms. We're slow to change there, so some support would be needed there. Technology is a big push. With every adoption, we get more curriculum that is based on technology, supported by technology, and teachers need a lot of support with that. Our English language arts, if we could support additional 2 English language arts, that could help us take away some of the stress of the original 4 and be able to support GATE much strongly with that and after school. We are also looking at maybe a coach for positive behavior intervention services for Delta Sierra. And I have to make a statement there. It's not ×2, it's only ×1. Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's because we don't have a math coach.
and the same for the science coach. We have a wonderful science coach, Shirley, but with our new adoption and trying to go K-12, we need I would suggest that we need another science coach to help implement science K-12. Shirley is wonderful, and she's done some magnificent work. It's just a lot as we go forward with the new adoption. So we're asking for the board's support to allow us to move forward with 7 FTE that are currently in the budget.
And I just want to make a comment about the PBIS coach. This was just an idea to give some support to a school that may need some support. However, that's not something we had in place or currently have in place, so not doing it doesn't mean that we lose something. So that would be one that we could put on hold or rethink or do something different. So we wouldn't be losing anything if we didn't do that.
One more question, Lisa. You're not having a request for GATE coaches here, huh?
No, we do not have a request for GATE coaches. We have a request for ELA coaches because it spreads out across the whole district. It can service many more staff members and teachers and students, whereas the GATE was focused so strictly on GATE.
So that would be ELA/GATE?
They will be working with GATE students, and yes.
Okay. Would they be trained in GATE strategies?
Of course. Yes, of course. If we can.
I mean, it was just a
yes,
question.
we have provided a tremendous amount of professional development for our coaches. So yes, if this goes through, all of our coaches would be trained in GATE strategies to deliver GATE professional development. Yes.
Okay, that concludes your report?
Yes.
I'm not, we'll get comments in just a second. But then you're done with your report portion?
I am.
Okay. Comments from the board?
Let me, maybe so I understand this, if I could go back to slide 2. The 7 coaches that you are asking for are in addition to this, some of these or none of these or replacing all of these?
It would be replacing 7 of those vacant red spots, so it would be 2 to
So-
fill in for the ELA that
Okay,
are
so
vacant.
I think then I did understand. So the spots that aren't vacant, instead of filling
There would still be 7 vacant.
All of those
instead
others,
of filling those 15 vacant positions, you're asking to just come back and retweak it to fill it with 7.
correct.
Okay. So we're replacing, you're asking to replace 15 with 7. And then you said that they're in the budget.
Yes, they're in the budget.
What does that
They're
mean?
mostly funded out of Title I and Title II and Title III. I believe some of them, there's a portion that might be funded out of our LCAP budget.
Technology coaches are in the LCAP.
Okay, the technology with LCAP and everything else were from Title I,
Yes,
2s and 3s?
Yes, federal dollars.
federal dollars.
And I guess that's asked my next question. By not filling these positions, or taking advantage of, then we're not taking advantage of federal funds that are available to
True.
do that. Is that-
We would use the funds in a different, we would have to come up with another way to use the funds.
We don't forfeit the funds.
No, we would never like to give back federal monies. We would come up with a different way, which we've done in the past couple of years, but it wouldn't be a cohesive plan.
For example,
Title I is geared towards the low-income students, so it would be anything that supports Title I students or Title I schools. Title II is staff development, so it could be conferences, workshops, after-school sessions, collaboration, those kinds of activities. Title III is a little more flexible, I think technology, EL.
It's only focused on English learners.
Which one's that?
English learners for Title III.
30, okay.
So it would be services, support, staff development geared towards English learners. So it's not that the funds would go unspent, it would just be spent differently.
and as it is right now, as we're proceeding ahead, we do have, just quick count, 4, 7, 9, 10, 11 coaches that we do have for next year.
Not all are full-time. So the total
Okay,
FTE.
so 2 are part-time, so we have 10 FTE of coaches coming back to that.
I think you said 10.3.
I think it was, I have to go back and.
10.3 plus 7.
10.3 coaches
Plus 7 requests.
with our science and admin coach. Yes,
11 positions.
Okay.
yes, 11 people, but only a 0.3.
Oh, okay. One of them isn't a 0.5, it's a 0.8.
Yes.
I'll reserve any further questions I have this time.
I have another. On your request, you have 1 PBIS coach at Delta Sierra. Who is that person supposed to be helping? PBIS coach?
The intent of that was to support the PBIS efforts. There have been some challenges at various sites with PBIS, and Delta Sierra is one that could use some extra support in that area. Like I said before, that's not one that we've had, so it wouldn't be a loss to anything to not do it. It was just an idea of a way to give some support to the school site. But they wouldn't be missing anything if they didn't have it.
Right. So I'm thinking an administrator might be a better use of funds than a coach, but I'm just curious. So we haven't had one in the past, and this is just an idea. All right.
Okay, anybody else? I second that.
Second what?
Newspaper rather than
There's no motion on it. Is that a motion?
Yeah. If you look at the vacancies, 3 went to administration. And as you well know, the number 1 job of every principal, vice principal, and assistant principal in schools is to help the teacher, number 1. And there are 3 great people that are going into administration to do just that.
That's why I'm in favor of increasing the number of administrators at all levels, especially at the elementary. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not okay with losing these gate coaches and all, and I just want, isn't it true? Or maybe I've made this up, but in statewide, Lodi Unified has been recognized as having a particularly robust gate program. Is that true? Statewide recognition that we have had a very good gate program.
We have deemed ourselves as statewide
Yes.
recognition having a very
Okay.
good gate program.
Well-
But yes, we are one of the few, I think, that has maintained that level of service due to the budget cuts of 2008.
And I have to tell you, I'm so biased about this because I benefited from that as an advanced placement teacher. And I especially benefited once, and I know this happened a long time ago, it was under Dr. Mullen, which is quite a while ago, as a board member. I believe it was him that insisted that we diversify. We seek greater diversity in the ranks of our gifted children, which we've done now. And we should have done that long before, but luckily he sounded the alarm and we did that. We stepped up to the plate and did that. I'm not buying, I guess, the ELA coaches, although I know they're going to be very gifted, and they are, the current ones. I'm just simply not comfortable with how on earth they're going to continue as we once have. And I have always liked the GATE program. And by the way, the slide 8, I'm all for that, so you have my support on what you're requesting, but by golly, those GATE coaches are still in the budget, aren't they? Yes. So I would really, I'm very adamant about keeping them and keeping the integrity of the GATE program district-wide.
You have my vote on that, Ms. Castle.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Couple comments. First of all, let's take a look at your numbers there as far as the cost. Average cost $77,660.
That's an average cost.
That's what we use for teacher average cost.
Yes.
These are LEA numbers.
Okay, I thought we had increased that. Mr. Khan, what are you using? You're using 77,000?
For the gate coaches, yes.
For everybody, all teachers?
All
Average cost for a teacher, 77,000, that's benefits and salary and everything.
Yeah, salary and benefits.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, that seems like it's a little, okay. I thought we had gone beyond that. It's like 83. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But especially coaches who are going to be senior teachers, but that's another thing. Let's take a look at math coach there for a second. So what's your proposal on this? You want to, let me start at the beginning. I am sorry. I think that we have waited far too long to be discussing this at this point. We have school beginning in 6 weeks, and to just get this now, I mean, we're going to be pulling, when we do fill these positions, we're going to be bringing people out of the field, and we're going to be upsetting things all over again. So I think we probably could have done this a lot. I'm sorry, does that upset you for some reason? Mary?
No, I'm happy to hear. No.
Okay, I said that you look, we're all over the place. I'm worried.
It's like, no, you said it was late in the year.
All right. So I think we should have probably looked at this earlier. I've been talking about coaches since February. And what you said in the beginning of this whole thing, Dr. Wash, is absolutely true. But we haven't reached that point yet. You're quick to bring up that point, and that's good. So we should have actually started on this quite some time ago. Instead of after school is already out, how are we going to fill these positions? If this board would say, this is a report out, by the way, this is not an action item. So if we say, you know, we want to go ahead with this, what are your plans?
Mr. Newly, members of the board, the positions are already in the budget, so we're not requesting
I get
any.
that.
No, we're not requesting action for money. So if you were to give us direction to fill 1, 2 positions, we could go ahead and post. Would it be someone in the district? It most likely could be, but perhaps it would be filled by an outside person and wouldn't upset what's already in place. So, you know, that doesn't mean that it's going to take somebody out of our classroom. That's typically what's happened, but not always.
It would probably happen because, I mean, if we're going to have somebody coaching our teachers in the classroom, you would really want them to have come from that classroom to know what's going on rather than have to learn that. So, back to the question, what are you going to do? You going to advertise
We would
coaches?
go through the process that's established in ad posting.
Okay. And then, so, I'm kind of confused. Are people going to be checking that? Are we going to send out to them? Michelle, how are we going to notify everybody?
I think live tonight is, you know, one way.
Okay.
Social media, we have a new PIO who can
All right.
advertise that, but, and join is how.
PIO, hey, answer to every day. All right, she's got a white horse tied up outside there. All right, so that makes, okay. So then we're gonna have to come up with teachers to replace those that we hire. If we hire 7 new ones, so we're gonna have to do that. Now, talk to me about this math coach. You're short math teachers right now in the classroom. And you're gonna pull one of them and make them a coach, her a coach, them a coach?
That is the double-edged sword of this whole thing,
Right.
the climate that we're in, is that if we have coaches, we most likely lose a teacher out of the classroom.
So is that your recommendation, that we pull a math teacher when we're already short for a long-term sub in that classroom, have the math teacher come up here, then have to go back and train that long-term sub?
Actually, my recommendation would be that we advertise it on EdJoin and see if we could. We have had some math coaches from outside of the district apply.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of coaches throughout the state of California.
If a math teacher from the district applied and you had outside math teachers apply, it would not be good if you had a qualified math teacher to not take them because they're teaching a class. That would be, that lady standing up back there would be all over me on that.
No, that would not be the criteria as well.
Okay.
Inside or outside.
Yeah. So then the point is, I've been trying to make this whole time, is that yes, we would pull a math teacher out of the classroom and make him a coach. And we would still be short.
Yes.
If we had a qualified teacher apply.
I think you probably, my opinion is that portion of this whole plan needs to be rethought. That's just my point on that. Okay.
Discussion sound familiar, Dr. Washer? Does his point sound familiar?
Absolutely it does.
I will go along with this if we do a couple of other things. One is that we need our coaches, we need to relook at the way that we provide support. Okay? We need to provide it in an additional way as well. We need some of the routine things that we're training teachers to be captured on high-quality video training that our teachers can access whenever they want without having to call up and make an appointment. Some of the easier things that can be done. We need our coaches to make those videos.
We have kind of started that already.
I've done some checking on it. I've looked at our YouTube channel and some other things. We're not nearly where we should be on that. And we've had these coaches up there, all right, but they haven't been told to do this. We need some vision in that department that says, you know what, we're going to present training in a lot of different ways because we have a lot of different people out there with a lot of different needs. So we're going to do everything that we can to do that. So we may have to shift some emphasis in some places. But I think that that is an important thing that we need to do in order to hit some of these things that are a little bit more routine. Yes, in some cases, you can't beat having a person there on site, especially with our new teachers, our brand new ones, who don't even have a credential yet. You can't beat having somebody there. But with some videos, maybe a coach can assign some videos to help too, to pre-teach, just like what we do in classrooms. So there's some ways and things that we can do. We need to reevaluate that. I'm going to end up supporting what you want on this. But I hope that we have some good direction in there. Also, I personally like the idea of the ELA/gate coach. I think instead of hiring one, my opinion, instead of hiring one gate coach, you take your 2 new ELA coaches and make them each work on gate and ELA. We need to be careful how we look at some of these things, and that because there is a high demand for somebody at one point during a year, okay, if that's the case, then maybe we can fill those high demand periods. An argument that we do it because of teacher boot camp, well, that's 2 days long. If we have to pay people extra to come in, some of the great teachers that we have out there, then maybe that's something we can do. There's different things that we can do. If we're teaching somebody how to take a test, we can do that the same way. There are things that we can do. BBIS coach, I don't think, for Delta Sierra, I don't think we're at the point of hiring people for that yet. I think we need to do something. Delta Sierra needs some help. And I think we need to do some really soul searching and find out what we can do to help Delta Sierra before we just start hiring people to put in there.
We could put that one on hold for a larger plan.
Yeah. Now here's what I would be saying. Okay, if we do that, then maybe we add a 7th coach in there that would actually go into one of those positions. And
I would suggest then going to 6.
What's that?
I would suggest then keeping the rest of the 6.
Whatever you think is fair on that.
George, my concern is this is an info item. What's the scoop here? Are we going to get direction? We're going to give direction
right.
to go proceed with the program?
Yes, because we stopped filling them based on board input and direction. That wasn't an action item. So it's in the budget, you've approved it, we've just kind of put them on hold so we can proceed to fill them.
Well, we have difference of opinion here. We have 2 or 4 different opinions.
Well, we're going to try to bring it together in just a second, Joe. Let's finish up here.
Roll them.
All right. So anyway, so if you want to go to 6, then I'd support that as well. All right. All right. Comments from the public.
Hi, Mary Galarga Hood again. Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Washer and Mr. Neely. I am really happy to hear about the discussion for coaches, and I just don't want to diminish GATE. And I think part of this, one of the reasons that I chose to come tonight, even though I'm not a coach any longer, whatever I do is near and dear to my heart, and I do it with 100%, 120%. And one of the things for me is communication. I think that communication is huge, and the communication on what is it that coaches do, what have the GATE coaches done, what is in it. A report back to the board each year sounds like something that would be really good to keep everybody informed on the importance of and what's going on. I need to say that all of the coaches that I've worked with are phenomenal, and they work above and beyond and all the time. GATE, however, and the ELA GATE, I understand, I just feel like GATE is kind of getting pushed aside as long as it's incorporated, but GATE coaches do more than just language arts. We sponsor the math tournament, And that was something that we did, and we ran, the two of us. And as far as Pat White and her position, because she had two coaches, she was able to focus less on the gate aspect and running, because she has to, that's the entire district. We have gate teachers at every single school, and it's very hard for a principal to be a principal and monitor the gate program of every single, make sure the teachers' needs are met. So it is pretty extensive. And so Barbara and I, we did support, and we took all of the load off of her pretty much to make sure we could manage the things for her. And we met monthly. So I would see that we also supported math. It's not just language arts. We helped teachers this year too with science, because science was a need for our district. We are really kind of, I'm happy to see the science coach up there too, because one coach can't cover it all for what we need in Lodi Unified with science. So I think I'm not so certain I would just put that on ELA, because GATE is not a curriculum, it's a program, and it's about differentiation and making sure that all teachers have the opportunity for differentiation. GATE has existed in our district in one form or another for 30 years. And so not to have a support system for that, and we are a pathway, identifying our students and making sure they have a curriculum, they have the opportunity to have teachers who are trained to go above and beyond, gives those kids the opportunity to be in that AP pathway. So I just want, as you're considering, and thank you for considering the coaches, and I think that, the RBET committee and the coaches, I think there has been, the communication piece and what is it looking like, and I've heard great things about what the RBET is doing, and I think, so how does the coach fit in with RBET? And differentiation is a key word. I know there are teacher specialists at each site, and differentiation is a word, especially a 21st century word, that we need to be using. It's not just about a program, and yes, we identify the children, but then what do you do with them? What are the materials, and what are you going to go above and beyond with? And so the math tournament, I'm not certain that the math coaches could take on the math tournament. That is above and beyond. And we have our students, teachers are amazing. We have students at Title I schools who participate in our tournament. We had 20 schools, 20 teams this year, 24 teams actually. And those students participate in advanced math activities with their teachers who go above and beyond once a week with those students. Most of them are part of Mullins, which is a worldwide organization. And so our students are competing with 178,000 students worldwide for the math contests, which culminates in the math tournament. So I think it's about communication and what is it that everybody has been doing. And so that it's not just ELA for GATE. And GATE we work to try to, it's hard with two of us to meet the needs of every teacher who we have 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teachers at every site who we support, and that's, it's a big task. Has it been done the best? We've done the best that we could, and I'm proud of a lot of the things that we've accomplished. But I really am thankful to hear the word coaching being talked about. I really think that knowing that the RBET committee is working hard, and one of the concerns, and I'm just sharing that with you, is that, so those teachers are still teaching all day long. If you're a master teacher, you're still teaching all day long. And you're going to do professional development, and you're going to support teachers in the classroom. If you're using the model classroom idea, then we have to have release monies for those teachers, and that GATE should be included in that differentiation strategies. So I think communication is key. And that's why I'm here to talk about that. I've been in the district a long time, hired in 1985, save for 1 year. I've been in the district the entire time. And I feel it really important to come just to support the coaches, the coaching model, and knowing that we have a good thing in place. And with the new RBET, I think that it will even be better. And I'm really happy to hear that coaches are being considered, but I wouldn't put GATE just with ELA. So I appreciate your time, and thanks.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Oh, Michelle.
Good evening, President Newman, members of the board, Dr. Washer. I have some questions first on the report. And forgive me, through the chair, if it's possible to ask Lisa a question. On slide 5, with regard to the projected 2018-19, those 200 contacts, is that 200 members they contact or 200 hours per month?
It's 20 contacts per month to interns, long-term subs, STIPs, and PIPs. So over with the 10 coaches that are currently, right now, without any additional, that would be 200 throughout the district, but they would be contacts.
So members that they're in contact with. Okay. On slide 6, I think is the next one. The PD for all is kind of listed under ELA. I didn't see that in the other curricular areas, and I don't see GATE listed with what their responsibilities are on that, and maybe that's where some of, as Mary pointed out, the communication of what the job descriptions are. Maybe we don't have a clear picture of all of the PD and things that those coaches do. And I'm assuming like GATE was just by mistake left off on this. Do all of those curricular subject areas continue to do PD for after school and with members?
Yes and no. Some of them do after-school cadre meetings. I mean, when you're down to 2 or 3 coaches, it's really hard to take the time to plan for your lessons in the classroom and then plan for an after-school PD. So we have cadre meetings and we do offer some professional development. But all of those do to some degree, some more so because you have more people.
When you say teach in the classroom, they're teaching the lessons in another teacher's
They're
classroom?
modeling and co-teaching, yes.
And I saw the 2-day boot camp, but I didn't see the 2-day beginning of the year for all teachers listed. Do all the, did I miss it?
Yes, it's on page 7. I'm sorry, it should be, yeah. Where it's right there, the beginning of the year professional development 2-day conference. Those are things that we would really severely have to modify if we.
So currently we have our coaches slated to, they've always done the PD during that day?
They offer a number of sessions along with our teachers offer a number of selections.
Okay.
They can't do it all. There's too many sessions for a group of teachers to do.
So they are part of that, because I heard, I believe, one of the board members, I believe, said that they were only doing boot camp, but they are doing the 2-day also. And then, I'm sorry, it's not Mike, our new tech person. Could you go back to the previous slide? With the technology up there, they do PD currently. I know that our tech coaches have helped out with the rolling out of one-to-one, and they're slated to help with, it's not one-to-wow, it's one-to-home.
Yeah, take home.
Take home, I'm sorry. See, one-to-wow stuck with me. But I didn't see that up there, and I think it's important that the board knows that they were slated to help with that going forward. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought that on one of our LCAP discussions, we talked about the GATE coaches, and they were slated in the LCAP. Now maybe that changed. Maybe
They're all in the LCAP. They're all in the LCAP.
A portion of their salary is in the LCAP, each one.
Okay, and I thought the board's direction was to go forward with those that were listed in there. I guess we're refining all of them at this time then? I thought we had talked about, because the LCAP was there, that wasn't a money sense that we could look at hiring those gate coaches at that time. At one of our last LCAP sessions.
Okay.
The general
No?
direction has been not to fill vacant coach positions at this point. That's why we're having the conversation.
Okay, I'll go back and check my notes because I thought that was a go. I am concerned with the PBIS coach that they would be at one site. I have heard from members that they think to get PBIS rolling, there does need to be support. The other thing I didn't see on here, and I don't know if I'm just, this is not feasible or practical, but halftime coaching, halftime in the classroom. As we have, as the requests, I guess on the last slide going forward, if maybe filling half of a teacher position, they're half, and I don't even know if it would be something that would entice teachers, but being in the classroom halftime and coaching halftime, so that not only are they helping with the lessons with the other halftime person in the classroom. The other, I did question the 77, because I think, as a point was brought up, that most of our district coaches are tenured and have a lot of time, so I think ballparking that number is very low for our estimates. I think there are quite a lot of comments that have been addressed tonight, and I worry with the requests that all information has been delivered to you by me and all members changing the program. As you know, I think that our members that are coaches in the district do an invaluable service reaching out for PD and help. One of the things I did not see on there was teachers who are in a program improvement plan, that coaches go out and help hone those teacher skills. It could be there, maybe I misread it. So I'd like you all to remember that with more teachers being put on PIPs, as we've heard this year, those coaches have been a valuable resource to some of our teachers. And I think those are all my comments for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
President Neely,
Sir.
been 2 comments on the budget number. It's, I still believe it's a good number. It's a bachelor's plus 45, step 9. Current district average in the 1100 code is about 62,000. 25% add-on for health and benefits is right around 77 or 78. If an experienced multi-year teacher were to take the job, clearly that would be higher than the budget number. But the replacement for that position in the same budget code, same object code, would in all likelihood be less than a bachelor's plus 45 or 9 years. So it is a budget number. It's, okay, as we say, more fiction than fact, but it will probably hold up.
Okay. Hey, Jen.
Hi, I'll make it fast. I'm Jen Castle. I teach at Tokay, and I am a member of the RBEC committee, so I thought I'd kind of lend that voice just for what it's worth. I think our committee has struggled with these coaching vacancies, and there is an assumption across the district that RBEC is getting rid of them, and we're bothered by that, because if you read the RBEC MOU, as you know, it does not duplicate what the coaches do, and that's already been represented. Dr. Washer said that, Mary said that, so I think there's been some worry that we will be on the hook for getting rid of these coaches, and we don't necessarily agree with that decision. And it's not even in keeping with our task. So I thought that was worth sharing with you, that I do agree too that there needs to be better communication about how these programs are going to be coordinated. And there's some confusion within RBEC on that too. I think that's fair to say. I also wanted to say, Pat White is also on the RBEC committee, and she's such an impressive lady, and she's so busy and industrious, and I've been impressed with how much she's contributed there and still doing a fine job as a principal. And I just, it seems to be a lot to ask of her, just my own opinion. And I also wanted to lend a second opinion that AP teachers, like my mom, like I, have benefited tremendously from the GATE program across the district. And in a minute, just to make some other connections, we're going to do a report on Curriculum Council, and you'll see that a lot of the coursework that we've approved in the last couple of years are in fact AP courses. So we need to have a strong GATE program that delivers students to these very awesome new classes that we're offering across the district. So I just thought I'd lend that opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Any other comments? Dr. Washer, what do you need?
Here's what I've heard, so maybe you could help me clarify if I've misunderstood. I've heard that you are comfortable moving forward with filling vacancies absent the PBIS coach. What I am not certain at this point is if you would prefer that a position be designated as GATE or incorporated into the ELA position.
What's your recommendation on that?
I believe that the GATE tasks can be accomplished with other coaching staff. My view on that is that ELA coaches serve this many teachers. GATE coaches are more focused, of course. We would probably need to find another way to do the other duties that the GATE coaches have done, as was explained, the math competition or the specialized things that I honestly don't see the other coaches being able to take on those tasks. So whether it be retired teachers or paying teachers, adjunct to do that work, I see that there would be some gaps with the other duties that the GATE coaches filled.
So bottom line.
Bottom line, split it. Where's the recommendation? Oh, go to that.
Yes, I can. Oh,
The last page.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. There you go. I would eliminate the PBIS coach and split the ELA instead of 2, make it 1 and 1 GATE.
Okay. All right. Hold on just a second. Okay, first of all, let's go down the line for the 6. Okay, because basically what you're going to do is the 6 with the split, 1 GATE, 1 ELA. You good with that?
I'm good with that.
Let's make a deal here. Okay, Ms. Freitas, are you okay with that?
Do we need 2 new technology coaches?
We believe that technology is still an area where many teachers are uncomfortable, and having support, I think, would help bolster that. We've recently just lost one more. That was one that we didn't know we were going to lose.
Maybe those technology coaches could work with the other coaches and we could produce some really high quality videos for our people to use. That's the thought.
Well, we have a new department head for technology, and technology has been growing leaps and bounds. And I see some duplication in the technology training coming from the technology department and from the technology coaches. So, I'm in favor of the 2 ELA coaches doing ELA. That's what we do. Math, that's what we do. Also, I am in favor of a math coach. Science, adding a science, especially curriculum and a district our size, I have no problem with that. And I would dedicate a full-time GATE coach for a total of 5. And then technology, I feel strongly both ways on.
Okay, so you're at
2
LA, 1 math, 1 science, 1 GATE.
1 GATE, and my arms could be twisted on technology.
Okay. Thanks for being honest about that.
I guess I'm the closest one. Yeah, I will go with the 1 math. I believe in the 1 science. I think that we need 1 standalone GATE coach. I agree with Ron on that one. ELA 1 or 2, technology 1 or 2.
Okay, so you're going for the 7,
Yes.
okay? Mr. Knaxet?
What was, Dr. Washer had mentioned one math, 2 techs, 2 ELAs, but one of them is a gate
Well, it
coach.
goes to gate, okay?
No PBIS.
No PBIS?
No.
2 techs?
Yes.
Okay.
Science coach.
What's that?
And what science coach?
And the science coach.
I changed my vote. I'll go with what Dr. Washer recommended to that with the changing it to a standalone gate.
Okay, so now I got all 3 of you, 1 ELA, 1 math, 1 science, 1 gate, 2 techs. And no,
Mr. Freitas was kind
Mr.
of.
Freitas is not a tech.
I'm 1 tech, 2 ELA.
1 tech, 2 ELA.
Oh, okay.
All right?
And nobody's twisted his arm yet.
Nobody is.
That's a song.
Not on my watch. All
And
right.
Dr. Washer's recommendation plus the two tech.
Plus the 2 techs, okay? Your recommendation included the 2
Yes,
techs,
it
right?
Two techs.
Okay.
0,
0?
I would hire 1 coordinator for gate, to run the gate program,
Okay?
full-time.
All right? Got it? Ms. Castle?
Since I'm on the end of the row here.
When I move
No,
over.
no.
I got a vote yet too, so.
Oh, that's, but I.
You're providing guidance, you're not the.
Right. Right, that's true. That's very true. Thank you, Dr. Washer.
I want to get coaches, but in the interest of compromise, which I truly always believe in, I want the one dedicated gate.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Washer, you got it. You got 1 ELA, 1 math, 1 science, 1 gate, 2 techs. And, does that cover everything? 1 ELA, 1 math, 1 science, 1 gate, 2 techs.
Total of 6.
6. That's the direction.
Can I have a partridge in a pear tree too?
Yes, ma'am. Certainly may.
Take the money and run.
I'm
Yeah, that's
joking.
it. You know, he said
I
there's
decided
no
to put a little levity to this conversation.
The old saying in sales is, once you've made the sale, don't say
Say a word.
anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank
you
everybody
for your
who
comments.
Yeah, everyone who spoke up about it, we appreciate that as well. I'm going to be interested to see how you guys, the 2 of you, pull this off. Yeah. Okay, curriculum, Lisa, you're going to stay there, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Curriculum Council. You got about 10 minutes.
Okay, I have 10 minutes and I'm inviting Nessie Miramura and Jennifer Castle to join me at the table. Nessie's our co-chair for Curriculum Council, if she's still out there. And there you are. And Jen is one of our members. You see, I don't know. So, I want to thank the 2 ladies for coming tonight to support Curriculum Council and share with the board the activities of Curriculum Council. By the council bylaws, we should give a report to the board every year on the activities that we have conducted. I will just tell you right up front, honest, this is the first time in about 8 years we've done it. So we haven't done it before, so we're doing it now. So
Thank
this
you.
is a reflection of 2017 and 18.
You'll go back all 8 years?
No,
All right.
we'll be here all night. It'll
All
take more than
right.
15 minutes. So, we had 5 meeting dates. Those are the meeting dates that we met this past year. We had to call an emergency meeting, I believe it was the April 5th meeting, to make the selection, approval to move forward with the history, social science adoption. Normally we had 4. We've added a 5th one, and the future year coming up we'll have 5 so that we don't have to call a special meeting. These are our members of Curriculum Council. We have, I believe, 4 administrators on the council this past year and 6 teachers. Next year that will change as we have rewritten the bylaws for Curriculum Council and the policy. There will be more teachers, some other resource teachers, resource specialists on Curriculum Council for next year. But these are our members this past current year. And I believe
How
all
much
of
do
you
the numbers
people.
change next year? I mean, is it, you got 10 people on here now.
Correct.
Is it gonna stay 10 or you go?
It'll grow larger.
How much?
I want to say it's going to be between 20 and 25. I don't have that in
Wow.
mind.
No, that's good. I'm not,
Yes.
because I looked at this and I said, how does that elementary teacher approve a physics
Right.
textbook?
So we're all of these people will continue one more year.
Okay.
But we're adding more to that. I believe that Michelle has the new members, and maybe it's not 20 or 25, but we've increased the membership. These are our courses that we adopted this past year and our textbook selections. So being a year where we were looking at history, social science, we had 11 textbook adoptions. Some of them are very small adoptions, like AP Government or AP World History or Italian AP course. Some of them are small, some of them are larger. We also adopted the Quavo music program for our music teachers. They haven't had any support for many, many years, so that was exciting to look at something new and online. And we approved 7 courses of study along with some of those adoptions.
It's misspelled, by the way. It's V-E-R. It's a V-A-R.
Oh,
I looked it up.
okay. Thank you.
It's all right.
That's a typo.
Yeah, there you go.
We also had some information or reports that were shared with the council. And I don't need to read them all there, but we came and members of the district staff and teachers came and shared what was going on with Dreambox, math placement. Our most provocative one was sexual education and puberty curriculum, because that's a new law that we need to push forward with, and our professional development. Anytime you guys ladies like to jump in. Then, as I said before, we did some business. We updated our council bylaws. We revised the board policy and the rules for curriculum. And I had asked for vice principals from the high schools to attend the meetings as non-voting, because most of what Curriculum Council does evolves around the high school course schedule, and so it's easier for them to hear about the courses at the ground stage, and then they can work them into the master schedule. So we had a little bit of a discussion about vice principals' involvement in the Curriculum Council. And I think that's it. That's our report. So if you have questions for us,
Yeah.
All 3 of us are here.
Questions from the board? Sir?
Thanks for letting me stand. Anyway, when something comes up before Curriculum Council, let's say even like the Italian AP, what's the lag time on getting that into the course selection sheets? Because it seems like every time a new course in high school is added, it's going to change your course selection sheets. So how's that working? Is that going okay, or?
If those courses come forward early in the year, they get on the course selection sheet. The ones that come forward in May, those create a problem. They have to be added with an insert on the course selection sheet, because the sheets are done like in January or February for students to make their choices. So it does cause a little bit of a problem, and teachers need time to develop courses, to come up with their courses.
And some of them are school specific too. They're not, I guess anybody could piggyback on that, but a lot of them, when you read it, it's specific to one school. So.
Or an academy, specific to an academy.
Sure, yeah. Yes. Okay, I was just kind of curious about that, because I'm a big proponent of, why add a course if kids can't see it? So, whether it's the catalog or the course selection sheet. Thank you.
I guess that's a good push for having the course catalog online, so that we could just enter it and it'd be right there.
Yes. What's taking so long?
I don't know. Give me direction to do that. We'll do it.
Okay, do it.
There we go. Find the money to do that.
Comments?
Sorry.
Got you? Money? Anything? Okay. I still find this kind of you've got 10 people and they're doing all of this work, and they're looking at it. The next year, you're going to 20 to 25, you said?
I don't think it's that
like
many.
14.
It has been
14?
expanded, I can't remember.
Would it make more?
Well, and one of them's a counselor coming on too, so LPPA is gonna have a voting member
All right.
as well.
Should we think about changing the way that we do this and do an elementary and then a high school?
I have an opinion about that.
Yeah, please.
It's been very interesting to watch the elementary and the high school teachers work together. And I think it's valuable to have the elementary teachers hear kind of where their kids are headed, you know? I think there's great value there. And they've contributed a lot to those discussions. I'd say that I bet about 75–80% of what we do is secondary coursework is what we're adding. But I don't agree that there isn't a place for the elementary school teachers to hear about that and be informed about that and even have part of the decision-making process too. They've been good voices.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's the only point I had on that. I do want to tell you guys one thing. I don't know if you really realize the impact that the curriculum council has on the decisions the board makes. If the question comes up every time, well, did this go in front of curriculum council? Did curriculum council approve this? And if the answer is yes, then it's pretty much a go. In fact, I almost never see it go any other way.
Right.
So I want you guys to remember that.
Well, and
what you do is very, very important.
We appreciate that, and it hasn't been at all a rubber stamp process.
Okay.
We have had some spirited debates in our meetings, and I'd like to think that we're doing hard work for the benefit of the kids, definitely.
Sure.
Good deal. Okay. Comments from the public? Michelle, you got anything?
Nancy wants to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And I'd like to add that we have been really pushing the technology part of ebooks, you know, just so that we have textbooks, but we also always add that we would like for them to have some type of ebook because that's where we're going in the near future that teachers need to be on board and consider that as they go on.
Fantastic. Okay.
I have another question. If I
Too late. No, sorry, go ahead.
When we were talking about the coaches and adoptions, when we do an adoption, are there any kind of publishers that do videos on best practices that would say, hey, if you buy our product, we have some ready-made best practices modeling where our teachers can then do that?
Thank you. There are, not all, but a few publishers do have some ready-made videos that they will share with us after we purchase and do the first introduction of professional development of the program. I believe all of them will release them to our teachers to view specific things that they have challenges with. So they are doing those. At this point, I won't vouch for how good they are because we haven't really witnessed them and how teacher feedback yet, but they are moving in that direction.
Okay. Well, and I really think that we should do our own anyway. That's preferable. George had mentioned that earlier. So anyway, I think curriculum council is a very important aspect of the district. And I agree with you, Jen, is that it's good for teachers to know where the kids may go. And after they leave us, where can they go? What are their options? And that helps them explain it to their students. Is you're doing this because this is now open to you. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
By the way, we're the 34th largest school district in this state, all right? Which should give us some negotiating power. So you tell those publishers that, you support this afterwards. I mean, I was looking at the social studies saying there's somebody there who said that, oh no, we're not gonna let you videotape this. Oh, well, we'll just go someplace else, all right? Don't be afraid to do that. We've gotta put some pressure on them and get what we want out of it, okay? Comments from the public?
We just want to say thank you to Dr. Washer and the board for reviewing and updating the Curriculum Council policy. We think there are some good changes, and we do have newly elected members that will be joining. It's a total of 19 members on Curriculum Council, 14 LEA members.
I heard you had something to do with that.
It's just working together.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
A lot of times we need to modify and adjust how we do things.
That's right.
And-
Yeah.
That's right.
And a great move forward, so that's good.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, well, thank you guys very much. We greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. We'll see you in 8 more years.
You'll see.
Okay, any board advisory reports? No? Okay, entertain a motion to
I
adjourn.
move we adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. See you guys later. Absolutely, thank all of you, thank the coaches for coming, we appreciate that very much.